Hey, boys and girls, Dave here. It's been brought to our attention that things that we said in our last episode when speaking about Hunter Schafer and her possibly being cast as Zelda in the upcoming Legend of Zelda movie could be considered anti trans. And I just want to say from the bottom of our hearts, that was not our intention at all. Being nerds ourselves, we understand what it's like to feel excluded and as an outsider. And we work to foster a community of inclusion, especially on this podcast. So, again, not defending what we have said, but our intent was to point out that in today's world, with all of the anti trans people out there, that casting someone like Hunter could possibly hurt the movie in the long run. That was our intention. And if it came off as hurtful or insulting, from the bottom of our hearts, we apologize. That was never our intent. We promise going forward, we will do better. So, with that being said, let's move on to the show. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Superheroes Speak. I'm your host, Dave.
And I'm Don.
And look, James saying good day, gents. So here we
This
are.
day at 8:30, and since it's the summertime, it's nice.
Yeah, well, and he's in California, so he's.
Okay. Yeah,
It's 5:30 for him, so there you go. So here we are again on a Wednesday night. Let's have some fun. In fact, we're going to talk about a few different things. We've got there was the leaked Fantastic Four end credits. Well, I don't know if it was necessarily leaked, but everyone's talking about it. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to get caught up on some absolute Batman. But the other thing that came out today, a couple hours ago, Sony did their state of play, and they announced a couple of games that I think people here might be interested in. So we'll talk about that as well. And that's about it, really. Keeping it light tonight, because I'm tired. But anyway,
right on.
We'll get into all that in a second. But how are you, sir? What is new with you since Sunday? Anything? You staying out of trouble?
Yeah, I supposedly, but yeah, no, nothing. Boring life. Just work is a little hectic, and yeah. So yeah, I wish I had more to say about that, but I just, nothing. Sunday. Pet the dogs, feed the cat. Kids are out of school, so that's a challenge as a remote worker. So there you go.
Yeah. I understand that.
What about you?
Yeah, nothing major. It's hot in Philly. It has been for the last couple of days. Today was the hottest. It's going to be hotter tomorrow. So much so that I have my air on. I haven't actually used it yet this year. But when I was getting ready for the show and I was sitting here, I was like sweating. Like, I guess I should turn the air on for tonight.
Oh yeah.
So
it's hot here today, and we don't hesitate. It's like keep the house at this temperature. We don't care what you do. So the AC's on.
We don't even have central air. So like my son has had his air on since May.
I gotcha.
But yeah, I try to hold out as long as possible. And today I was like, nah, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I remember the last place I lived, we didn't have central air. We just had wall units.
Yeah.
But we only had enough for like the bedrooms. But that's all I cared about. I'm like, just give me a cool place to sleep. But yeah, everywhere else in the house, you kind of had to suffer through it. But Just needed
Yeah.
a cool place to sleep. That was the
Worst-
limit.
The worst thing about having not having central air and only having window or wall units is like going to the bathroom. You feel like you're melting. That's all I
Yeah,
wanna
yeah,
do.
yeah.
But other than that, not much going on. Yeah, boring life. Just hanging in there, and yeah, the fact there isn't much going on, which is why I said, well, let's get caught up on Absolute Batman, and um, it's interesting. I will say that. We'll get to that in a minute, but yeah, that's really about it. This is gonna be a short one. So, having
That's
said all
okay.
that, yeah, having said all that, here's our good friend Dark Dawn to tell you where you can find more superhero speak.
Darth Dawn here. And you must subscribe to Superhero Speak if you haven't already. And if you have already, make another account and subscribe again. You also will like this video. And while you're on the HoloNet, go to superheroespeak.com. Find the links to our merch and purchase one of our shirts. Don't skimp on the shipping, or else I will trap you in a box with an agitated Gundog named Brie Larson. I would just force lightning you, but we don't have that in the effects budget. Now, back to the show.
All right. Well, and James is packing up books and assembling rewards for his latest Kickstarter. So, kudos, and that's he has us on in the background, I'm sure.
The Ballad of Nod, right?
Yes, The Ballad of Nod, excellent book. It made me cry. James is a bastard. All
right, backhanded endorsements here on Superhero Speak.
Yes. Always the best. So I wanted to play the little intro because this feels like breaking news because it just happened today. My son, who is a huge gamer, was like, "Oh, the State of Play, PlayStation's like annual thing that they do where they announce things that are coming out and whatnot was today." And he's like, "I think they're going to be announcing." He's like, "I think they're going to finally show the Wolverine game because apparently they've been working on this game for 3 years."
Yeah.
Or it was announced like 3 years ago. So he's like, I think maybe they're going to finally show it. And then he said, I also heard they're working on a Venom game. So I was like, oh, cool. So it was on while I was cooking dinner, and he watched it. So like I just asked him afterwards. He's like, no, they didn't announce those games, but they did announce two that our audience might be interested in. The first one, for those who are interested in James Bond, there's a new game coming out called First Light, which is going to be the retelling. You're going to play through James Bond's origin story, which I find fascinating because now that Amazon is taking over making the movies through MGM, owning MGM, there's all this talk about, are they going to reboot the James Bond franchise? And obviously they're going to greenlight the games that they own the rights to the character. So I kind of feel like this is a hint that, yeah, this is where the movies are going to go too. They're going to start over and brand new character, not a brand new character, same character, but start over telling the story in a whole new way. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you care about James Bond at all? I don't think you do.
Not one iota. And I couldn't even properly articulate why. It's just something I've never ever cared to watch. I've never played GoldenEye for the N64. So sorry about that one.
That
I
is
mean, I
like,
think you're right, though. I mean, I think obviously they're trying to like restart the franchise, but I think I said this before. I mean, I get your interest in it, and maybe there is, a fan base large enough to support this. I just don't think so, but I'm biased. So
yeah. Well, I mean, that's a funny thing too, right? Because they talk about, I hear people say, "Oh, you can't do James Bond today um, because he's, the sexism and the misogyny and blah blah." And I kind of feel like, no, I honestly, I feel like if you did James Bond and stayed more true to the character, it would in today's climate, it would skyrocket in success, because I think we live in a society where young men are looking for something to glam onto, and I think a strong male character like James Bond, might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I think it would attract a lot of young men who are looking for something like that. I don't think we've had that for a little while, not since I mean, we had it with Cap and Iron Man, but you got to remember, like, you're going back, what, 15 years when those characters were introduced in the theater, at this point. Like, they need
yeah,
something new for the kids that are in their 16 to 20 range that are coming up. So, it's just my
yeah. I
opinion.
mean, we definitely want to give them something. Like you said, we're looking to latch on. We definitely want to steer them away from Matt Walsh, or some dumb shit like that, because obviously that happens looking at their subscriber base. So yeah, absolutely. I like
Yeah.
James Bond more than Matt Walsh. How about that?
Okay. Well, there you go. I'll
Give
give you
them
that.
one.
The other game is a 4-on-4 fighter called Marvel Token Fighting Souls. And yeah, it's a Marvel fighting game. It's very reminiscent of like the Marvel versus Capcom games.
Yeah,
Style wise, graphics are insane. They showed a trailer. Um, Definitely a mixture of like its own style, copying a little bit from the movies. In fact, the Miss Marvel looks just like the character from the show, and
mm-hmm.
so does the Spider-Man. Almost looks exactly like the Tom Holland Spider-Man. The Cap is different. Iron Man is pretty close to the movies as well. So, but yeah, I this was like, I thought it looked amazing. So, how do you feel about? I mean, you like Marvel Rivals, so how do you feel about fighting games? Is that something you'd be interested in
Oh,
playing?
yeah, dude. My favorite fighting game of all time is Marvel versus Capcom 2.
Okay, yeah,
So yeah, no, absolutely. I'm for this all day. I like the hell. It's the reason I bought the Switch, the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which is
yeah,
like a beat 'em up,
yep.
multiplayer game, which is fun. I played through by myself, but we'll also play with the kids. It's great every time. So yeah, no, absolutely. I'm just the type of video gamer is, yeah, I could be excited, but am I gonna pay $60 set or 80 or whatever, 80 to $60 out of the gate? No, I am not. That's reserved for Armored Core and Suikoden's and just top tier shit like that. I'm a budget gamer for the most part. So
It did say it was going to be available for PlayStation and PC.
okay.
Both
Well,
the games that we talked about, which I find interesting. That they're more and more, they aren't making games that are exclusively on the console. Because I think they've realized they probably make more money selling the game if
they do it. They do timed exclusives. They did that with the Final
yeah,
Fantasy VII
yes,
remake. It was for the first year. It was on the PlayStation 5 only.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
they
Because
did the PC.
I played the original on the computer. I didn't have a PlayStation, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I think they look great.
Was there another game you wanted to talk about?
They were the only two that
No,
caught
no,
my
no,
eye.
no, 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 no. You must not have scrolled. They are going to do Final Fantasy Tactics.
Oh, okay,
Like,
yes.
which I'm loving just from what I've seen, because I'm really loving this trend of them not remastering these games to the point where they're unrecognizable from their original form.
Right.
They really are just cleaning them up. In the case of the Final Fantasy Tactics, what was it, Journey to Ivalice or something like that? I can't remember the sub name, and my internet's shitty, so I don't want to open up any tabs. But they added voice acting to the game, as well as when they talk, their mouths move. So I can't. Okay, no, that's the biggest news out of this for me. That is like,
I forgot you are like the RPG
yes.
guy. Yes.
Like, to be honest with you, I was pissed off at whatever Sony. I'm kind of pissed off in general, Square Enix, because with the Final Fantasy, first of all, the Final Fantasy remake was supposed to be a 1-for-1 graphical remake, and that didn't happen. They changed the story. Getting off that real quick because we'll be here for 20 minutes. But I bought the Final Fantasy remake for my PlayStation 4, and I was like, God damn it! This is going to be 3 installments. They better not fucking make me buy another system to get the other installments. Well, sure enough, Final Fantasy Rebirth comes out. It's a PlayStation 5 exclusive, so that's I literally bought my PlayStation 5 for that. They kind of did a cool thing. There was like, hey, but we're gonna give you for free the first one, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, for the upgraded version for free. But nonetheless, I still had to buy a whole fucking system to continue on this now new story. But anyway, Armored Core Speaking of shit comes out, and I'm like, okay, this PlayStation 5 thing is so bad. But now I'm almost to the point of forgiving Square. Like, I think they're on the right path here. Now I'm like, okay, great. I'm really glad that you made me buy this PlayStation 5, because if you're gonna do this, it's a great time to be an RPG fan that wants to play the old shit but brushed up and touched up a little bit.
Yeah.
And the Final Fantasy Tactics is huge. It's going to be big shit. And I'm so, Dave, I didn't know about this until I just read your email. It was like, hey, this just happened. And I'm like, what just happened? Oh, PlayStation State of Play. Oh, GoldenEye. No, I don't care. That's cool. Oh, shit. Final Fantasy like, and I did not have. I just had the shirt on today. Like so yeah.
No, you put it on after you read the email.
So, wow. I'm sorry. I had to pump the brakes there, though. I can't have you transitioning without talking about. That's the biggest. That's like the biggest video game news this year
for you.
No, everyone. Even if you're not smart enough to know it.
But wait, what if they announced the Wolverine game and it looks amazing?
Oh, that's cool as hell. I expect it to be. You ever played a Wolverine game? They're generally pretty cool. But still, it's not Final Fantasy Tactics.
Well, we expect you to stream that once it comes out. And
yeah, why not?
All right. Well, okay. Speaking of things that people aren't expecting, we talked about the Henry Cavill Highlander movie. We actually talked about it not that long ago. Yep. Because we talked about Voltron and whatnot, and I was like, I don't think that Highlander movie is happening. Well, boy, was I wrong. It was just announced that the production for the movie will begin in the fall, and they're looking for what did it say? I think it said they're hoping for a 2026 release, but probably 2027. So, and the thing is, here's the thing. The only person that's cast so far is Cavill. So when they say production starting in the fall, that means searching for cast, finalizing scripts, and all that kind of stuff. So it's all the pre-production stuff. So it will be a little while before it comes out, but it's happening. So
yeah, I'm excited. I love the original Highlander, even though the story, it just becomes mutilated trash. Oh, you're going to say something, Dave?
Well, the problem with the first movie is the sequels.
Yes.
because they didn't think the
Exactly.
movie was going to do well enough, and it is like it's a cult classic. It's not like it was a success, but it wasn't this huge success in the theater. But they ended up deciding to make a sequel, um and the there's rumors that Sean Connery was like drunk the whole time they were making it.
Oh, I assumed as much. That's just how they rolled back then. I mean, I know the 80s maybe a little bit tamer. It was, but
The Spanish Egyptian.
right.
So yeah.
So okay, that's a good idea. Let me just go take a drink.
But again, the whole thing of it being this unexplained immortals, and there was
Yeah.
this, they were drawn to fight each other, and there could only be one at the end.
They chop each other's head off with swords.
Right. And
Well,
of
at
course,
least, yeah.
Connor McLeod wins at the end, and that's it. And it's over. And then all of a sudden, oh, let's make a sequel. Well, wait, there's none left. How can you make another one? You know,
Which,
and then
yeah, and they came up with the whole like all from Planet Zeist, and then they
Right,
sent these two fucking bird guys back down to Earth, and he killed one, and all it restarts everything. And yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
making them aliens was stupid. And
They're
then, of
just
course,
just back in the 80s, early 90s. There's just not a lot of cool sword fighting going on in movies, so you're just like, fuck it, I'm here.
yeah. After Star
I don't know
Wars,
why the Spanish Egyptian has a Japanese blade, but fuck it.
I feel like that was when they were putting together the outfit and the whatnot for him. The prop master gave him
Yeah.
a few swords to play with, and he liked that one, probably the easiest one, because that's the thing with katanas, like they're lightweight and they're easy to use. So he probably liked it because of that, and there you go. He's got a katana, which makes no sense. The whole character makes no sense. He's a Scottish man playing an Egyptian with a Spanish name and in a Spanish outfit, and it's just like, and he doesn't change his Scottish accent,
No, not one bit.
and yet we all love the movie. I mean, wouldn't it have made more sense if Sean Connery played McLeod and Lambert played?
Absolutely. Because Lambert's French. So
Right.
yeah, he could have pulled off it much better, but I don't know. Lambert was hot back then. I don't know, like, because believe me, I know of Highlander through my mom, who was not that type of, like, not a nerd. I'm like,
Right.
holy crap, but she was, when the second Highlander came out and he had his long hair through the whole movie, she loved it. So I don't know. And Lambert had something going there during that time period.
All right. Well, we'll have to keep an eye on this, and
It sounds great. I don't know how you can mess this up. Like, you say they don't have anybody else cast. Who cares? Henry Cavill, Highlander. Just have a story that makes sense.
Right.
Do you want them to explain why this is going down, or do you just want it to go down?
Well, I don't know. This is a question I've pondered. So here's the thing: if they do the remake, first off, don't do a beat for beat remake of the original. That would be stupid. But you do the remake, but you have to leave it open ended if it succeeds for a sequel. That's just the world that we live in. They're not going to do a one and done. So you have to have some explanation that makes it a viable for the return. My theory I always liked to explain the original and get rid of the alien stuff is that they're fallen angels, and
Okay.
that's why they're drawn to fight each other, and they're being punished, and that's God's punishment, is they have to kill each other until there's only one left, and then that's the one that can possibly be forgiven. So that was always my, like, oh, that would be a cool take on it. I don't, will they go with that? I don't know. I think is it too religious for Hollywood? Possibly.
Yeah, I hope they leave it completely ambiguous so we can
Ambiguous?
decide. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just focus on the story. And you're absolutely right. You know, unless you absolutely say, no, we're going to make one and done, then you're right. There can only be one that has to survive, you know. So obviously you can't have the end of the first movie be, oh, he's the only one. Like you can't at all do that. You know, maybe like it's the first dude that he killed and got the quickening. It was like, oh, what the fuck's going on here? But
Right.
can't be like, nope, I'm the only one now. Unless you're
Yeah.
just gonna do one movie.
Yeah, exactly. I think no, I mean, and you could do it too where like the first movie just takes place, you know, in Scotland, you know, in the past
Mm-hmm.
when him figuring out he's the Highlander and whatnot, and then don't end with him killing the last the Kurgan and you know becoming the last one. Just set it up where it's like, oh, what's going to happen next? I don't know. We'll see.
No, you're right, Dave. It's so easy. You go back
Yeah.
to Scotland. There's this dude. He's in this village. Um, he's like helping defend it from all these raiders because he can't be beaten in battle. He's got his wife, and all of a sudden, everyone starts noticing that he's like not aging, and then gets kicked out of that village, and then someone gets wind of that happening and attacks them because they're like kind of hip to the game. Or Kurgan, right? He's already hip to the game. He knows what's
Right.
up. But now he just finds this guy that's not aging in this village that just got exiled. Okay, we're gonna go after him, and I don't know. There you go. That's the first hour of the movie. So it's not hard, guys. Just don't fuck it up.
Yes. Don't fuck it up. All right. This next thing we're going to talk about. This has been all over the internet. A lot of videos talking about it. New Rockstars did a video. Like all the channels I normally watch for this kind of stuff, and it's funny because there's a lot of debate if it's real or not. So we'll get into all the implications, but they did a test screening of the Fantastic Four. You had sent me a thing where they talked about the movie and what people thought overall, and it looks mostly positive about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But what had happened was there is apparently an after credits scene, and there were people who went online and described the scene, and it's been everywhere. And so the scene is Sue is in bed or in a bedroom singing to Franklin Richards, her child, and something happens where she leaves the room for a second and she comes back, and there is a man in a green cloak standing over Franklin with what has been described as an extremely comic accurate Doom mask on. And that's the scene. That's basically the scene. Which has led to wild speculation about everything. And the one thing that a couple of people have said, and I'm kind of feeling this, and I want to get your opinion, is that it's not real, that this is fake. This was done specifically to leak, to get people to talk about this movie on the internet, in videos, to increase the hype for when it comes out in a few weeks, so everyone goes and sees it. So,
because Fantastic Four Marvel movie needs hype. Like, come on, we're already there. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Okay. So you think that it is real?
It actually sounds very plausible to me. Absolutely, because one of the thoughts that I've been having about the Secret Wars arc is, okay, there's no way they're just going to bring the Beyonders, Molecular Man, just bam, here they are. It's not happening. So what character then in the MCU 616 could do that? Who could help Doom or enable Doom to make Battle World to read, Franklin Richards? So
Right.
it makes sense that Doom would again be after Franklin Richards, and however he does it, work with him to make Battle World and basically kick off the Secret Wars and become God Doom, where he's hanging out with Sue and Valeria. Again, that might not specifically happen, but so to me, it's very plausible that this is true, and it just makes sense to me that they're going to use Franklin Richards in lieu of the Beyonder and Molecular Man.
Okay, that's it. It's funny because that is part of the speculation that is like wildfire on the internet. Like that's obviously they jump right to, well, this explains everything. I do have two minor issues with it. One is, in the past, from my understanding of the test screenings, they never had the after credit scenes. So this would be this apparently would be like the first time at a test screening they had the after credit scene. Because a lot of times the movie isn't fully complete at the test screenings. Like it's not a final cut, because that's the whole thing. Is if they say, if people complain that, this storyline was too much, they will edit the movie at that point. And after credit scenes are usually like the last things that are filmed. The other thing is, in the trailer where you find out she's pregnant, and then by the end of the movie Franklin is there and like, I would assume isn't a baby but a little older. I mean, I could be wrong. They just say Franklin Richards. They don't say how old the kid is. Could be in a crib, but the way the scene's described, I'm picturing a mother singing to her kid, and then she walks out of the room for a second and comes back in to check them. Whereas, like a baby, you would leave a baby in the crib, but like I was picturing in a bed. You're not going to leave a baby in a bed. It's gonna be an older kid, but it could be a baby. But it's like, but then that gets to the point where, like, well, if he's a baby, we don't know if he has powers yet. Like,
right.
Because
he's a mutant, and generally this isn't this isn't a fixed rule, but generally their stuff doesn't manifest till teenage years.
Right. And yeah, but that's so that's the two things. And of course, they're all saying now that this confirms that Doom really isn't in the movie. He's just in the villain is just Galactus. Doom really isn't in it. Like, okay. I didn't think Doom was going to be in it at all either. The other theory that this has now sparked is, at the end of Thunderbolts / New Avengers, that after credit scene is, we see the Fantastic Four rocket, but it's not the Fantastic Four in that rocket. It's Doom, who escaped and has Franklin Richards with him.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, that would be different, but it's going to be different. So, yeah.
So
we are talking about it, though. Look at that. So, I mean,
mission accomplished.
Intrigued, right? I think in general, the MCU fans are heavily intrigued. And you know what? I'll walk back my statements a little bit, because this is going to compete with Superman, which people seem generally excited for. So I do kind of understand them keeping it on the forefront and trying to make us think with it. But I still think it's completely plausible, because I don't think they're going to be like, boom, Molecular Man. Like, we don't, who the fuck is that?
No, I agree. Like, to introduce the Beyonder just for this seems
Yeah.
silly. I don't think that'll work.
much.
Like they have to make it work on some level. But then at the same time, you are bringing Franklin Richards in after you just introduced his parents that quick to explain it. So yeah, I mean, and this they're saying this confirms some of the rumors about the movie is that Reed is doing what you call it experiments into interdimensional travel, which that is established canon in the comics. So yeah, that would make sense. And then of course, it attracts Galactus to the world, but then it also at the end attracts Doom, who whatever he's not. But again, I've heard them keep saying that the Doom is not of that world. Like, you know, he's traveled from another dimension. I don't know. We'll have to see how they explain all that. It'll be interesting. And then one of the arguments I heard saying that it's Doom in that rocket, and of course, if it's the quote unquote new Avengers that find him and intercept him and whatnot, they established in that after credit scene that they are, you know, kind of competing to be accepted as the actual Avengers, right?
Yeah.
Where now Sam is going around and assembling his own team. And if somebody shows up who looks like Tony Stark and they work with him, they can sit there and say, look, we're the legitimate Avengers because we have Stark with us.
Right.
You know, and I was like, ooh, that is an interesting theory, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I think because that's a lot to put in there.
Yeah, I also don't like it because I want them to do a thing where he's in the mask most of the time and then there's a reveal and then they see that it's Tony. Then it's like, that's when they're like, what the hell? You know, to have him come in as like playing Tony. It's... Look, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that's going to piss a lot of fans off. If he's Doom, but he's not a variant of Tony, he's just Dr. Doom, but he comes to this Earth and finds out he looks like this savior of the planet, and he's just playing off of that. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's going to...
Yeah, that's a whole lot of coincidence. Yeah, no, it's dumb. That's convoluted.
Yeah.
It really is.
And I think it could be dangerous.
I'm still really sour on this whole Robert Downey Jr. returning kind of Iron Man thing. So
we all do. It has to, like... And here's the thing, because he was asked multiple times about coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he gives all the typical lines of like, don't you think that would cheapen it? You know, cheapen my death? Don't you think it would... people would be like upset because like, oh, you died, now you're just back, you know. And
which for anything but a comic book movie, you'd be like, yeah, but
right,
comic books, baby.
And then I saw him on, I can't remember what podcast it was, but talking about this, and then he finally, like, that was the whole thing. He kept saying that for a long time, and then all of a sudden in the last before he was announced as Dr. Doom, for like almost a year before that, he started saying stuff like, well, if a really good idea came along, maybe I would do it. So that's the thing.
As his bank account just goes down, you know.
He's a multi-millionaire. He's not worried about money.
He could have had a bad investment.
He could start doing drugs again, right?
He could have done some dangerous crypto investing that didn't, pan out.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he could have done a lot of things.
Could have bought a lot of bad what is it called? Endochrome stuff. What is that shit they inject? Apparently. It makes live forever.
We don't know what his OnlyFans bills are like. He might.
Right. All right, Dave. We don't need another apology. Let's
yeah. But
get back on the track here.
Yeah, we're gonna offend Robert Downey Jr.
He's got money to sue, so.
Oh, well, that's true. Sue us. It'll get us in the news.
Right. Right. Infamy is still famey, right?
Yes, exactly. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, we don't have long to wait for it, so we shall see what happens. All right, that's the news that we have, but we did want to talk a little bit. We reviewed the first issues of Absolute Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and we've been doing a little bit of catching up on Batman, and kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit. First off, before we get into too much, it is still the number one selling book at DC is Absolute Batman. It has been every month that it's come out, and they are on the 7th issue coming out. I believe it's coming out this month. So
Okay.
that's it's pretty good. So what have you discovered? What do you think about the storyline thus far?
I mean, spoiler alert, I guess I made it to the point where they introduce the next villain. And so listen, I like it. I don't adore it as probably as much as a lot of other DC fans.
Okay.
But it does a lot of things right. First and foremost, I wonder if this is going to create somewhat of a problem, because the nature of the Absolute universe, I do not think is a permanent one.
Yeah.
Seeing as it's basically a universe that Darkseid made that was devoid of hope.
Right.
I'm going to get some comic book shit here, and I'm a DC layman, so correct me in the comments. But, apparently in DC, their multiverse is the product of like hope energy coming from Superman. It's as layman as like, and I may not be understanding that all correctly, but again, now we have the Absolute, again, influenced by Darkseid and being devoid of hope. So enter Batman, who is your working class Batman, right? He's not Wayne, billionaire playboy. He's a working class Batman, and he's just completely, I don't want to say completely different, but like it's like Batman that didn't have to be smart and fight smart because he's a fucking tank.
Yeah.
Tank fucking explosions, but he is still smart, so he's pretty goddamn unstoppable. With his spikes, everything's very practical with this Batman. He needs a weapon, so he had to, his ears are batarangs, and his chest symbol he puts on a stick, and now it's an axe. Like, although at some point it was revealed that the Batmobile's a big fucking dump truck.
Yeah.
That then turns into a smaller car, that then turns into a submarine. Don't know where he got the money for that. I missed it where they explained that, but whatever. It's still cool. But like all of his friends are his villains from the regular universe.
So far, yeah.
At one point, he's revealing, like, he revealed his secret identity to all those friends. We talked about Alfred and how I was kind of annoyed because with Alfred and Lois Lane, both of their both of their Absolute versions are like militarized CIA Nick Fury types.
Right.
But it kind of works here with Alfred. They didn't reveal what organization sent him here, because he's really just trying to like observing. He starts off just kind of observing, gathering data, but then he does ultimately go against the directives of whatever organization is. It's probably the League of Shadows.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because you kind of assume he's like MI6 or British Special Forces or something, but no, I mean, like the kind of stuff they're having him do feels like it is League of Shadows type stuff. But yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, he ends up, having this relationship with Batman and ultimately helping him. And again, at the point of the books where I'm at, like he he is now working with Batman. He's his medic, basically.
Right.
So I do think they did a good job, like, because they wanted. So what do they do in Gotham? Whenever they want, like, the general populace to go batshit crazy, pun intended. They gas them with something or poison them or blah blah blah.
Right.
But in this story, the Black Hand, right, who's the leader of the Wild Animals gang or whatever the fuck those
Black Mask.
Yeah, Black Mask. You know, he's got a lot of money. In fact, he gives Batman $250 million just to chill out for like a week. And he uses that money to build a big bat symbol, and they all get in a fight, but and Batman kind of loses it. So they do a good job of like building him up as this like unstoppable tank, but then they do put him in a scenario where, like, no, he gets beat the fuck down.
So okay, so I guess you kind of missed. It's slowly revealed that all of the villains, basically, or at least Black Mask and the wild, they call the Wild Ones, I think, something. Like
Yeah.
that. They're all actually working for an eccentric billionaire who is
right. Yeah, I did not miss that, but go ahead.
Who is the Joker. Yeah. So, like, it's like, okay, so that's the whole thing is they've kind of like did this juxtaposition where Batman's a blue collar working class kind of guy and the Joker's the billionaire, you know.
Yes.
But they're doing this weird build up with the Joker. They show him at the last page of the first issue, and then they show him on the last page of the sixth issue, you know, which I assume the next issue is going to be, you know, he's going to be all in. But apparently he's not human.
Okay.
Did you see that? Did you catch that? Or
I did not. No.
So in the last issue, spoiler alert, he's sitting in a chair and his skin is white like the Joker you would think, but like he like his legs look like skeletal, like he's like half.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's very emancipated. Okay, I just kind of thought he was just emancipated.
Right, but if you look, there's like what looks like a baby's head coming out of his chest, and like all of a sudden, like he makes a fist. There's a close up of his hand. He makes a fist. It's white, and then the next thing, his hand's open, and he's not pale anymore. He's like, you know, normal color. So it's like he's some kind of demon or something, and he's, I guess, living off the souls of children. I don't know. It's very creepy. It's only those couple of panels you see him in, and then like obviously it's to leave you hanging until they explain it. And apparently also I think Mr. Freeze is going to be in the next issue as well. And there was art that was revealed for Mr. Freeze, and he looks like this tall, lanky demon type thing too, which is weird. So like, yeah, they're definitely doing things that are out of the box for Batman.
I mean, like, to go back to my point, I kind of forgot. So when I was saying, like, oh, they didn't gas like the population to make him go crazy. Well, that Black Mask guy, like the mask that everyone's wearing, it's making life into a video game where, like, he's uploading, like, hey, I gave you 15,000 for a murder, and 20,000 for a kidnapping.
Right.
It's like the Purge on steroids.
Yeah.
Because then he's also dropping weapons. But yeah, it's all under direction of this Joker guy, this agent of chaos, now baby soul eater. It's crazy, man. I'm not super stoked about it, but I think they're doing a good job. I think people like it because it's new, something you can jump on. You don't need any further knowledge. And also, obviously, I don't. Did you read any of the other? Did you read like Martian Manhunter, Flash, Green Lantern, Absolutes?
No, but I do want to read
Okay.
the Green Lantern and the Flash, definitely.
Okay.
I'll try to do that this week.
But obviously, they're gonna the Martian Manhunter one. I just don't get. It's just I don't know. It's a large fever dream that I just don't understand yet. But obviously, like we're gonna get to see them converge into the Absolute Justice League.
I would think
that's going to be cool. So we get to look, I think people like that sort of thing. Would like what they did with the MCU, like piece it together and then, boom, here we go. We got the Justice League.
Do you think that that's where it's going? That they're going to team up and they're going to stop some kind of world threat, which will end up being, Darkseid's whatever Darkseid did to create this universe, and ultimately end up destroying them?
I think ultimately, yes, they're going to have to do like a incursion type thing. But as far as in the near future on Free Comic Book Day, I forget what comic it was, but it showed like this mirror image. It was cracked 3 ways, and in each parts of the mirror is one of the Absolute Superman, Batman, the trilogy, Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So from what I understand, that's Mirror Man, and he might actually be a big enough threat to bring them together. So I think that's immediately what, more, closer to now. But yeah, eventually I think like the Absolute Justice League and the Real Justice League are going to team up somehow and restore things. I don't know. I don't think it's permanent, but
yeah,
we see, but it's caught fire, right? And DC's not going to want to throw the shit in the trash if it's selling books. So it's like the opposite of what happened to the Krakoan era of X-Men. Like there was a story, it was supposed to move much swifter. The Krakoan stuff was meant to be a little bit more temporary, but the writers and shit were digging it. They decided to extend it, which ultimately I think hurt the story.
Yeah.
But
but that, I mean, it always look at the best example of that is the Clone Saga. Like extended way longer than it should have. It was selling books, but boy, the story was weird and convoluted because they extended it for years. So yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it's selling. People like it. I think we'll keep reading it, and we'll see. Yeah, I definitely will go check out Flash and Green Lantern. Maybe I'll read one of those before I go to bed tonight. So, all right, well, that's it. We're enjoying those books. Are you enjoying those books? Let us know in the comments down below. And what should we talk? What comic book should we talk about next on the show? So, on that note, let's ask that question that we ask every week or every couple days on this show.
What do we learn on the show tonight?
What'd you learn, Don? Or do you have a recommendation or both?
I learned that James Burton is the only person listening today. No, I'm just kidding. But he's listening while he's packing up his books and assembling rewards for the release of the Ballad of Nod. So great job with that, James. Hopefully we talk to you again soon. What do I recommend? I guess I'll give it a half recommendation. I don't quite know how I feel about it, but it's called Secret Level. It's like a streaming. I think it's on Netflix or Amazon. But it goes through like each episode. There's really not a whole lot of context. It's just they kind of touch upon stories about certain video games. It's kind of weird, but they do like a Warhammer. They do like a strange Pac-Man one I saw. So check that out. It's called Secret Level.
All right. Cool. I learned, what did I learn? At least we're good to listen to while you pack up your stuff to send out to people. And I mean, Wednesdays are tough, and it's the summer. I think we'll get less viewers on Wednesday, but we'll see. Recommendations. I don't know. I have a crazy idea. And I might see if we can get John to come back on Sunday to do this. I was thinking we'll do a retro review on the original How to Train Your Dragon to get us ready for the new live action How to Train Your Dragon that comes out the following weekend. So I will talk to
Okay.
John and see if we can make that happen. And if we can, then I recommend you catch up on that wonderful movie that spawned many sequels and a TV show, and it's much beloved. And hopefully we'll do it justice with the live action remake. We shall see. But on that note, boys and girls, as always, thanks for watching. Don't let your cape get caught in the door. See you next time.
If you haven't done so yet, subscribe. It really keeps this podcast alive. Smash the like button if you please. It gives us what we need. Maybe leave a comment or two. It's a really nice thing to do. And what are you waiting